Welcome everybody back to another episode of Search Course Reviews. We have made our way back to Florida, but I'm still out of town. I am currently at the New World Disc Golf Complex in Jacksonville, Florida, getting ready for actually the DGPT Silver Series event that will be held here in about 1 month's time. The course isn't completely set up, but I'm going to play kind of a practice round just to get an idea of what the course looks like and show you guys around. Hole 1 plays as a 408-foot par 3. I like this as a starting hole because with this course being set on a ball golf course, the immediate perception is Heiser City, but with the low trees immediately to the right off the tee and the OB Creek and thick rough to the left about 200 feet, it's actually a very technical shot and sets a tone for the rest of the round. The miss is absolutely burning out too far to the right. Hole 2 is an interesting 604-foot par 4. It asks you to essentially make two double mandos set quite a distance apart from each other. The first takes the form of a natural mando with a tree gap sitting just a few feet in front of the short tee pad. After that, the fairway opens up pretty wide, but at about 400 to 420 feet from the tee are the only other relevant trees on the hole, which have been turned into a double mando equally as wide as the first. It's almost better to just lay up with something slower speed so you don't find yourself blowing past the actual mando or going too far to either side, requiring a big skip to get to C2. Hole 3 has two pin positions on the tee sign. At the time of filming, only the 314-foot position was in the ground. Both positions play as par 3s. The trick with either pin is that it requires a low ceiling to execute a good shot and get to the green. The Heiser gap plays to the short pin, but going to the longer position based on the tee sign will almost certainly require a forehand or low ceiling roller. You guys know we always appreciate a nice tap-in birdie. So I can't remember if I said it at the beginning of the video, but this is actually my first time ever coming to this course. I've heard a lot about it, especially being in Florida. You always hear about New World and the great set of courses that they have up here. There are, I believe, 3 full courses and then several layouts depending on what you feel like playing out here at New World. There are actually a ball golf course on property as well. In fact, there's quite a few golfers playing at the same time that I'm out here too. You kind of have to keep your head on a swivel, make sure that you're paying attention as some of our fairways end up crossing with theirs. That said, there's enough space out here that we don't really seem to be running up against each other too much. Hole 4 was interesting to assess. They appear to be remodeling the teeing area, as during my round it was just a level mound of sand with the tee side on the ground. I played from the closest mark on UDisc. It's otherwise a pretty straightforward 306-foot par 3 with a tight gap off the tee, a slightly elevated pin situated on a mound, and low ceiling protecting the green. 5 is another relatively straight par 3 at 383 feet, though the play for me is to hit the gap with a fairway that wants to drift a little right before finishing left into the green. Again, a low ceiling does come into play with a few branches hanging down midway through the flight. Hole 6 is the first of 4 par 5s on the course at 1,162 feet and initially requires a tight left to right shot off the tee that, if pushed too long, will absolutely find the OB easier than you think, but if you're too short, you're in absolute jail. The second shot is fairly straightforward, but a couple of well-positioned trees and rough on the right at least make you think about it. The OB sidewalk continues to force the issue the entire left side of the fairway. From your second landing zone, the next shot requires you to cross an OB creek and rough to what is essentially the ball golf tee. And beware, the left side of the OB continues past the creek to put a premium on your landing, so don't get too comfortable after your first 2 shots. So in my brilliance, I forgot to actually hit record on my first throw. It looked the best out of the hand, but as you can see, based on the way this hole is likely going to play, that's actually out of bounds. Should still be able to get up and down for par at least, but we'll see. Maybe my favorite par 3 on the course, hole 7 is a 440-foot baby left to right shot that plays from in the woods across a golf green to a very protected disc golf green. There's a late Mando to the right at about 370 to 380 feet after you cross the golf green. A power forehand is likely to play, but a gentle right-hand backhand turnover can work if you trust it. Hole 8 plays as a 906-foot par 4. There are 2 routes immediately off the tee, with a big hyzer safe play, or the left route, which is definitely tighter, but can get you a full flex and plenty of distance to get you up and down for birdie. The sidewalk plays OB to the right the entire way, so if you do take that right gap, make sure you get inbound so your next shot will only advance you 50 to 75 feet from the tee. The left side of the fairway is lined with thick rough, which, if you find, will easily add a stroke to your score. The green has another pin perched on a little mound, and the sidewalk that goes to the left is not considered OB. Hole 9 wraps up the front half of the course, with the second par 5 measuring at 1,108 feet. This dogleg right requires distance from your first shot and then placement for the next 2. If you have a massive forehand or precise roller game, the tee shot isn't too tough as the fairway is very forgiving, but if you're not careful, you can definitely find that right-sided OB. Once you get yourself in position to attack the green, the fairway does narrow slightly with a couple of nice guardian trees, but there's no low ceiling, so you should be able to attack pretty easily with a slower disc. That right-sided OB falls away near the green as well, so just don't go too deep and find that thick rough, and you'll have a pretty easy putt. So through the halfway mark in the course, I can say I like the course. It's very open, probably one of the most open courses I've actually played in Florida. Not surprising considering it's on a ball golf course. They do a pretty good job of using some of the natural OB, natural rough, and trees to make for some low ceilings here and there, some tight gaps to hit. But what really comes across on this course is that it is long, requires a lot of distance, and because it's Florida and you're exposed to the elements, it's hot. So make sure you bring plenty of water. Hole 10 may be my favorite par 4 on the course. This 770-foot hole requires a decision off the tee. You can lay up to about 350 feet or try to cross the creek at around 380. The latter option gives you a pretty straightforward up and down to the tee, but you have to commit early because a tight gap can definitely get into your head and lead to an early tree or rough kick. An OB sidewalk also comes into play on the right, and the pin is tucked behind a golf green. That green is slightly uphill, so the pin is mostly obscured on your second shot and tucked in front of a row of trees that, if you get behind, won't block a putt, but may force a wide straddle to complete the hole. Hole 11 is one of the shorter holes on the course at only 283 feet, but it's also super technical. Grab your straightest flying putter or mid and trust it. An early kick has high probability for bogey with the elevated tee at the end of the tunnel. Hole 12 plays as a 400-foot par 3. The sidewalk comes into play with OB left, and there's very thick rough to the right. Roller is an option, but you need to get it down quickly to avoid a few branches midway through the flight, providing yet another low ceiling. I prefer the low straight line, but there are definitely multiple ways to get to the pin. I've done pretty nice overall with setting the course up so far. Obviously, there's a lot more to do. But you can see the really nice turf tee pads that they have. Decent size, level. Overall, very high quality course. At only 382 feet, the par 3 13th on paper doesn't look that bad, but as you can see, there's a very low canopy for the straight air shot. The branch is also only about 100 feet off the tee, so if you're thinking roller is the play, you've got to get it down early. Once again, the left side sidewalk does play out of bounds, and with the tree being that close, if you play the Sky Annie or forehand, you better make sure you get all the way back to the right, or similar to hole 8, you're taking a very early OB penalty. Hole 14 marks our third par 5, playing at 1,009 feet. There are a couple of early gaps to hit immediately off the tee with a Mando early on the right, forcing you to hit that gap. As long as you're able to execute the initial shot with something that finishes not too far to the left, your next couple of shots are pretty easy. Go max distance from the fairway, and then finish up with your favorite approach disc. Once again, there is an OB sidewalk lining the entire right side of this hole. And if you do manage to go a little too far to the left, there's extremely thick rough that's difficult to play out of. Hole 15 plays as a 270-foot par 3 with railroad ties creating an island green. Though not marked during my round, it does look as though a layup zone is going to be in play. Like many of the holes out here, while it seems straightforward, there's a very low tree branch only 70 to 80 feet off the tee, which shouldn't come into play, but this late in the round can get into your head. There's also a double Mando right in front of the green. If you don't come to rest on the island or miss the Mando, there's a drop zone about 80 feet from the pin. Hole 16 is another short 265-foot par 3 which plays very similarly to hole 11. Hit the gap and you're fine, but an early kick and you're scrambling to even get a look at par. This is also one of the few holes with no OB, though there is a Mando that really only comes into play if you decide to take the wide flex line. Probably my second favorite hole on the course, hole 17 plays as a 635-foot par 4. The initial play is just to throw something straight about 350 to 380 feet, as a cart path on the left plays OB the entire way until you get to the OB creek, at which point now everything to the right of the path is OB. From there, it's a pretty simple hyzer into the pin with your favorite approach disc or putter, but the green is protected, so if you land short or go too long, you may have a difficult putt. So to get ready to finish up walking the whole 18's tee pad, what I really like about this course is it has a pretty decent mix of shots that it asks you to throw. Yes, it's relatively open, but as you saw, there are quite a few relatively short technical shots as well. Even most of those open shots require some technical skill at some point during the flight, whether that's asking you to hit a gap early, hit a gap late, or just really concentrate on your landing zone. Overall, well done with the course design. I have no idea what the regular layout is. If this particular layout is just for the Pro Tour Silver Series that's coming up, or if this is kind of a permanent fixture. It looks like it will be a permanent fixture once it's all said and done, and is pretty much all ready to go. So started off kind of slow, started getting a lot of birdies there towards the end. We'll see if I can finish up hole 18, yet another par 5 to cap off a pretty decent round overall.
Hole 18 finishes up with our final par 5. This one plays the shortest at only 988 feet, but plays difficult because of the ceiling and mandos which come into play. The first shot is precarious as you have 2 mandos forcing you to keep your drive to the left and off the golf fairway. That second mando comes up fast and is actually difficult to see from the tee. Once you approach your lie, assuming you've thrown a good first shot, you're required to navigate a third mando, preventing the easy right to left hyzer into the pin. In my opinion, this is probably the easiest eagle if you're able to execute the initial drive well, but can also easily turn into a bogey, double, triple, or worse.
No better way to finish a long, grueling round is not have to worry about actually putting. Well, I thought after I saw my drive, I'd be in a pretty good spot for an eagle attempt. But I needed to be either 10 feet to the right or 10 feet to the left. Had to deal with a low branch, moss. So basically just laid up into the fairway, a little bit off, but managed to get up and down for another drop-in birdie. All right, that's gonna do it for today's episode of Search for Course Reviews. Again, this is the New World Disc Golf Sports Complex. It's a combo disc golf and ball golf course. You can actually see a putting green here right behind me. A couple guys getting ready to tee off in the distance there. This course is about 2.5-ish hours away from me. My first time ever getting out here. I definitely enjoyed it a lot. I can't wait to see how it looks for the Silver Series event that's coming up. Make sure to tune in to Disc Golf Network. Subscribe to the Silver Series so nothing's going to be free to watch. Hopefully, I can play pretty well. Maybe get on coverage once or twice. We'll see. As always, if you like that video and you enjoy this content, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We got a lot more courses to get through. The next couple courses will likely be much closer to home. This ended up being a last-minute video. I just happened to have the weekend free, and this is the last opportunity I have to come and practice and even see this course. So glad I was able to get up here and glad I was able to bring you guys along for those of you who've never seen the course before. We'll catch you in the next one.